Ginger, the chain sleeve is
Hey!
all shores going ashore.
Good afternoon, VC. Rare home video during the day on a Monday. I got such a big pile of records. New vinyl in my life. I've been trying to do one of these for a while in between the psychedelic, Seeking a Thread Psychedelic 100. So I'm in between jobs today. I'm gonna home from one, going to the other. I want to get right into it. I had a few really fun radio shows over the last few Sundays. I'm going to link to my radio show again in case you haven't heard it. I've been really enjoying doing those lately. So I'm going to start today. I'm probably going to break this video into two parts, so you'll be seeing this at two different times. I'm going to start with some indie stuff and some folk and psych, and then probably the experimental and jazz will be the next video. But I'm going to do it all right now. So let's start with the latest Parquet Quartz album. I finally got this. I was sort of hesitant because of what I heard. Sympathy for Life on Rough Trade. I've always really enjoyed this band quite a bit. I felt like Human Performance was a little bit of a disappointment, but good. Really dug Wide Awake after multiple listens. It took me multiple listens, and I think that's what's happening with Sympathy for Life. Even though they're kind of moving away from their sort of Motorik-inspired indie punk or whatever you want to call it. It's sort of becoming more like a Talking Heads band now, but this is definitely growing on me. Sympathy for Life's Parquet Quartz. Recently scored last Labradford record. Been going back and forth a little bit with Mr. Digital Gramophone about Kranky, and me too. I've been checking out some of their Kranky deep picks. This is their final album from 2001. 4 tracks. Fixed Content is the title. Pretty cheap and inexpensive record to get on the Kranky label. If you don't know, sort of a modern ambient group. A little bit of shoegaze elements to it, a little bit of noise, ambient drift, you could call it. Really good band. I have a few of the other of their records. Really dig them. We'll see. I'll locate these as I find them. Labradford. We're listening to right now. This is a record I bought a few months ago, but I'm just getting into now. Ilyas, Ahmed, and Jefre Cantu-Ledesma. Ledesma, the founder of the Root Strata label, and along with many projects. He was in Alps. He has another great record that I have. The only other record I have by Ledesma, Love is a Stream on Type. Beautiful. And Ilyas Ahmed, born in Pakistan, raised in New Jersey, has a bunch of different home recordings, and so this is sort of their album for Devotion, a new label. I wonder if it's one of their labels. In any case, it's a duo here. They're both playing a multitude of different instruments: keyboards, synths, drum machines, tapes, 6 and 12 string guitars, piano, synth, similar to like Bitch and Baja's, what they would do. It is called You Can See Your Own Way Out. Not Labradford. Jefre Cantu-Ledesma and Ilyas Ahmed. Alright, this is an older record by a band that you'll know. I've talked about it a few times. It just walked into Angry Mom. And this one has been a big one on my want list. So a mini grail, or mega want, as I like to call them. But it is one of the EPs by Acetone, I guess I would. This is the US pressing on Vernon Yard. Technically a promo only here in the US. From 1984. Now, I didn't realize it was a UK label. In my want list I had the UK edition, and didn't even know it was a US pressing, but there is. And this walked into Angry Mom, and I was able to get it at a fair price, of course, with my discount as well. If you don't know Acetone, known as one of the most influential and best sort of slowcore bands. I think mostly notable for just a very deliberate pacing, very beautiful songs, very melodic, beautiful vocals, a lot of multi-part vocals. Richie Lee passed away in 2001, so the band stopped there. The first side of this, it's an EP. It's like 5 songs, 6 songs, mainly all covers. Only one song ended up on that compilation for Light in the Attic. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all covered. I don't have the covers and who did what in front of me, but and then the second side is a longer track called Border Lord, which gets a little rockier. Wonderful sort of an Americana influence on this too. I just love Acetone, so super glad that I got a chance to get that and fulfill it without going through the stupid Skogs. Bill Callahan and Bonnie Prince Billy, Blind Date Party. This is really good. It's not like the best record they've ever made. What this is really a love affair to music, to some of the greatest artists they love. It feels almost like a tribute record to David Berman, but also kind of like an all-star record, a Drag City all-star record. I'm not going to take out the booklet. The booklet's beautiful. Tons of photos in it. And all of these are you can kind of play Guess Who's Who. These are all the different people involved in the record. Blind Date Party. It's been out for a while last year, just digitally. So the record finally came out here on Drag City, of course. All right, some more indie stuff. This is one that I just found from a seller who was selling something else I needed. Oh, I think the Labradford. And I also got this record. Weed Forestin, Sebadoh, on Homestead. This is from 1990. Originally issued as Centradoh as a tape. This is the original press on Homestead. I love the early Sebadoh records. If you don't know, very much lo-fi, tape recorded. You know, after Lou Barlow was done with Dinosaur Jr. and was looking to make his own recordings because he hated J Mascis. So very crude. A lot of crude recordings, crude lyrics too. This is definitely Sebadoh in lo-fi mode before they would get sort of to be, one of the foremost indie rock bands, along with Archer's Little Pavement, stuff like that. So, yeah, if you want to hear more of that early tape lo-fi sound, you need to check out Weed Forestin. The latest in the PJ Harvey saga, and maybe one of my favorite records, if not my favorite, Let England Shake. PJ Harvey channeling other people's songs on this. A tough one to really describe. I mean, she's using, like I said, sort of standards and recontextualizing in her own style and with, her own. So a lot of these are really co-writes. And this record was on, I think, Vagrant originally, and I one of the ones I didn't. Well, I only owned one original PJ Harvey record. Originally from 2010. This one I associate with before my first son was born. My wife was pregnant. We took a trip when she was about halfway through the pregnancy to Yosemite, San Francisco and Yosemite, and we drove around in the winter too. It was February. It was pretty cool being there. And we had a rental car. We had, I think, 3 CDs. One of them, I don't remember. The other one was the Whitmark demos, Bob Dylan, the archival release, the bootleg tape. And this was brand new at the time. And we just listened to this constantly driving around the very scenic and wintry Yosemite, hiking and everything, cross-country skiing. So I really associate this record with that, me and my wife, and my pregnant wife. And they also released the demos to it, of course, and this one really makes me love this record even more because she plays alongside the tracks that she was borrowing from, the Blood and Fire. I'm forgetting the tracks all of a sudden, but Istanbul, Not Constantinople, was the one that influenced, and really she was taking off to do Let England Shake the song. I love this. This is maybe the best demos record to get out of all of the PJ Harveys because it really reveals a whole lot. PJ Harvey, so good. Always consistent. All right, moving into a little Psych here. This is a Christian rock band called Spirit of Elijah, who took on sort of were a band that was uncredited on one of the California Poppy Pickers records. That's another story, but they then privately recorded this. This is the original record on Voice of Elijah. This is sort of like a ZZ Top Christian band, but a little more psychedelic. Really good. You know, a little rural in its sound. There's the original custom labels. There you have that. I dig them. I dig them a whole lot. Another one I've had in my want list. This one's one of the earliest ones in my want list. I finally found. You know, I've been scouring Discogs and mainly failing, but I've taken a chance, and it's worked out more often than not on like VG copies, which I don't like to do. But you know, some people that put up good descriptions and have a high feedback rating, like 100%. I go for those because they usually are underselling it or undergrading it. Usually, not always. And this was one. This was a VG copy, and it's better than that. So, in any case, there are a few other records Spirit of Elijah did. I'm sorry, it's Wilson McKinley is the band. Spirit of Elijah is the record. They had a few others that don't quite measure up to me from that time. But this is maybe the Christian one to get. A little more Psych, and here's one that Psychedelic Derek showed out in Omaha. Far Out. Japanese band that would end up becoming the Flower Traveling Band, I believe. I'm not sure, note for note, remember for member, but this is definitely heavy duty, proggy psychedelia. Look, this is a recreation of the original art. It's a very, very expensive Japanese original from '73. This is the only official reissue on Everland Psych from 2019. Apparently this is official. The other ones are boots. Just such a cool cover, recreating the OB2. 2 tracks. I think it's, what is it? Oh no, maybe it's 3. Yeah. Too Many People. Maybe it is just 2 tracks. And Nihonjin. Very long-winded, very, I don't know, drifty, a little prog. Excellent. I don't go for all the Japanese Psych. I really got to check it out, and this one really checks out. All right, here we have one from the Stunty Files. Now, this is a band called Spoils of War. Now, this is a record I'd heard about, known about in some context, but didn't really totally know what it was. This is the Shattucks Compilation, a band that only officially released one long EP, a 7-inch single EP, which is incredibly rare, and Stunty has it. Awesome. It's included in here, and it includes the original EP with the artwork, and it includes all the recordings that Spoils of War did which were helmed by a guy named Jim Cuomo. This is the EP, a recreation of the EP. I think it's just self-titled, but James Cuomo is the main driving force behind this, and Stunty did on one of his videos a little feature on him and played some of the tracks from this EP and then another EP which is compiled on this, which are all of Jim Cuomo's recordings of Spoils of War, a group out of, I want to say San Francisco, I think it is, I have it. Oh no, recorded out of Urbana, Illinois, 1969. Cuomo would end up moving to France and starting a psychedelic folk group there, and then I think mainly recording and living in France after this, so probably that's where Stunty figured or found out about him, since that's like where he was based. But what this is psychedelia, but very avant-garde. United States of America would have been a similar analog, but this one gets even stranger. 50-foot hose for sure. Definitely more on the experimental and avant-garde side of psychedelia, but definitely psychedelic and psychedelic rock. Should have probably, if I had had this, because this has been in my want list a long time, but I didn't really fully make the connection that it was the same sort of thing. You know, when Stunty was showing it, he was showing this and a different EP. Didn't make the connection that this was this until he mentioned it to me. So, and I'd already had this as something I wanted. Compiled by the excellent Shadoks label out of Germany. They usually do good work. I don't know what their source material is, but their reissues are always expensive but good. So, Spoils of War with the self-titled comp, a subtitled 7-inch. Really cool. Here was a folk record, 2 folk records coming up I took a chance on. Sylvia Moore, Jungle Magic. This cover had me hooked. Now I had to get this from England. It's an English artist, English pressing, the only one of its kind. And she combines ethnographic sounds and field recordings and just, you know, alternative instrumentation. Her voice kind of throws it off and to put it into that sort of classic UK folk mold. Which doesn't always work, but what's going on alongside her is what's really cool. You can see her here. She's playing the what is that instrument? Yeah, I forget what it is. It's the one I know Don Cherry plays a whole bunch too. In any case, very good though. I'm glad I got this. This is on the Sunshine label, a small label. She would do some more recordings later on. If you see this, I doubt you will. I don't know. Take a listen to it. If you get into her voice, I think this record will appeal to you. Jungle Magic with this weird crocodile. Sylvia Moore. This is from 1970. I think it is.
When the fires were burning in the deep night, and he heard the impelling pulse of the ritual drums, his body flexed in quivering response, and his excitement whirled him into the dancer's circle. But he was rudely dismissed, for his father was a sorcerer.
Next we have Gordon Giltrap, an original pressing on, is it Transatlantic? Transatlantic, 1969. Very much in the more straight folk tradition. A record I knew little of until Dylan and Noble Records started talking about it in one of his videos, and I sort of started getting deeper into it there. Portrait is the name of the record. Original UK pressing. Yeah, this is like, if you like John Martin, this is a guy for you. Not so much psychedelic as it is sort of just like really good guitar record, a really good player. I don't forget what band he was from. I'll have to insert it. But he was in another band, or we're going to another band after this, and sort of a well-known band too. I'm forgetting who it was, but another English group. Gordon Giltrap, Portrait, 1969. Another psychedelic recommendation on the Seelie Court label. A somewhat suspect label, but they reissued this one and only acetate by the group called Slave. The Lover, the Madman, the Poet. This is super good. I mean, Derek played a track off this on one of his last videos, and Derek was sort of maybe not quite as into it. I'm into it maybe more than Derek was, and he introduced it to me. I had other records on the Seelie Court reissue label that I didn't like, so either I saw this and ignored it because of that, or I just missed this one. But this is so good. It's of the band. If you like the Ithaca and Agincourt records, which are huge for me, that homespun, lo-fi, but definitely home-recorded psychedelic folk. This is in there. Slave. As always, the year it's never totally clear. 1970. Slave. We have a record I took a chance on from Craig Moore. I forget why, but Craig Moore was the only one that had this for a fair price. 1971's Old Paint. This looked second-rate psych all the way to me. But this is good. Country rock, rural rock, on the GWP label. I looked up the members. No one did anything. No one comes from anything. It was sort of a one-off group. Yeah, private press, essentially. I don't think this is anything. Oh, it was remixed at Electric Lady. Look at that. And recorded at RCA Studios. So they had some money to work on. They had some kind of publishing deal. Produced by Danny Jordan and Rupert Holmes of Baker Street Productions. Yeah, a good, solid country rock album on the GWP imprint. Old Paint, 1971. At some point along the line, I was talking about the fact that I had 0 Curtis Mayfield records, which is a travesty. Either I hadn't seen him, missed him, ignored him for whatever reason, or just didn't have it on my radar. I didn't. And the other day, 3 weeks ago now, the Curtis album wandered into Angry Mom on Buddha. This is a German copy, German original, laminated cover. Sounds amazing. I mean, I don't have a Kurtom record to compare it to, but this sounds amazing. German pressing. I mean, this is a record we know. I wanted to show that I was able to finally get one. I need to get more Curtis Mayfield in my life for sure. It's just something, like I said, I mean, I've heard the records. I want Roots. I want, what is it? America. How can America be any worse? No. How could hell be any worse? That's something else. Spacing. Funkadelic? Anyway, I want to find those other Curtis Mayfield records, which I will. Those are the kind of things I want to wait until they pop into the store or see them in person. It's just, I know they're going to be inflated online. So, and these Curtis Mayfield records have gone up in value. Just essential funk record. You know, very, just very real. You know, Curtis Mayfield always singing about social issues of the time, and still resonates today, of course. Here's one that Steve Carlson showed, an artist I'm familiar with but didn't have any records. Yeah, this one's killer. Another one I took a deep chance on because at a BGVG and did well. This is a nice copy. Sol Makosa, Manu Dubango. I think this is like a hit record for him, maybe one of his biggest. This is the Atlantic pressing, 1972. The original. Well, I've seen that they use this image in different records in different countries, I think it was. I mean, this is a fantastic funk record, African funk record. Incredibly groovy and infectious. Steve was not wrong about that. I saved a note. That's the seller. The Atlantic pressing. This is what is it? RI, I think is I forget what RI is. Special? No, specialty is SP. Anyway. RI. Might be Scranton for Atlantic. I don't know. I forgot. I usually know my matrix, my pressing plant identifiers, but Sol Makosa, this is so good. So good. I listened to this like twice the other night, which I'm not getting to do. A lot of these I've only heard once. So, Manu Dubango, 1972 on Atlantic. Alright, another funk record. I put this up on Instagram. Sir Joe Quarterman and Free Soul on the GSF label, the same label that gave us Skull Snaps. This is from 1973. Very sort of primitive, childlike art. Boy, do I love it. He played trumpet in James Brown Band and a few other notable groups. And had a sort of minor hit with the first track, which is amazingly good. I Got So Much Trouble on My Mind. Sir Joel and Free Soul. The whole thing is, you know, just like the Manu Dubango. Infectiously funky. It says part of this was recorded at Muscle Shoals, which is cool. Most of the tracks were recorded in DC. But yeah, 2 cuts from Muscle Shoals. As far as who's on this, yeah, Joe Quarterman playing trumpet. Leon Rogers sax, Carissa Freeman keyboard, Willie Parker guitar, Alan Stewart drums, Greg Hammond bass, George Lee guitar. Not names I know of off the top of my head. One and only LP, did have singles in various fashions. Check this one out. There is a new reissue of this. This is a little on the expensive side. Another one I got on the lower end price because of the sleeve. The record's in great shape, but the sleeve is a little separated, but still nice overall.
Get an education, but the school system in a bad situation. You want to go to the best school.
So that is Sir Joe Quarterman and Free Soul, self-titled. All right, I'm going to end part 1 of this new vinyl in my life here. I'm talking quick today. Everything is going great. I hope everyone's doing well out there. No, everything's fine. I'm just keeping busy. The next edition of the Psychedelic 100 will be up this week, later this week, probably Thursday or Friday. So hope you enjoyed this segment. Hope you enjoyed the samples, the needle drops. I've done a few to get some sounds in there. And part 2 will be coming up maybe next week. I'm going to finish it up right now. You will see it later. Seeking a thread saying what's up and